Happy Wednesday morning, everybody. Welcome into Morning JOX. Conrad Van Order and Damian Mitchell here with you on this nice Wednesday morning, the day before Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I know a lot of you probably off work today or out of school and going ahead and getting some things prepared for tomorrow. Maybe you've got a big family, so maybe you're splitting it up. You got, Thanksgiving stuff today. You got Thanksgiving stuff tomorrow. However you like to do it. Happy Thanksgiving. And we, I think all of us here at JOX are very thankful for our wonderful listeners, and we couldn't do it without y'all. So we appreciate y'all and your support each and every day of the year. And, we will be off tomorrow. We will be celebrating the Thanksgiving holiday with our families. But we're here today, and we're going to be here on Friday because Friday is that's our Christmas, right? That's the day before the Iron Bowl. That is our big day, and we can't wait to share it with so many of you. But we appreciate you making us a part of your day each and every day here on the show, and especially this morning as you work about your holiday schedule. So a lot for us to get into today. Of course, the Iron Bowl coming up Saturday night, so we've got to continue to discuss and break down that matchup coming up between Alabama and Auburn, with ever so much being on the line coming up in that game. We got the college football playoff rankings last night. We got some more college basketball stuff going on. We even had another domino fall in the college football coaching carousel. So jam-packed show for us today here on this Wednesday. But I wanted to start off with two things. So first off, it is in the spirit of Thanksgiving. I know we love getting y'all's interaction on the Courtesy GMC text line, and y'all normally just kind of go along with whatever the topics of the day are, whatever me and Damian are discussing, each and every day here on the show. But I did want to throw an idea out there if you wanted to text in 205-834-9450 on the Courtesy GMC text line. What do you think certain SEC coaches are thankful for this year? And the idea is that you will give us horrible answers. Or very entertaining answers. Maybe that's a better way to put it. So what are certain coaches thankful for this year? I'm thinking we'll probably get a lot of Lane Kiffins.
Yeah.
Some Brian Kellys maybe thrown in there as well.
You're talking about
Freeze.
well, they're not SEC coaches anymore.
Oh, they're fair game.
Oh,
they're fair game. If you have been employed by an SEC program in the last 12 months, you apply for this
gotcha.
for this activity. So we would love to hear from you. I thought it'd be funny this morning, right? See if y'all can get a good laugh out of us and out of the other listeners. So if you want to chime in, you're free to do so. Give us some funny answers. What do you think certain SEC coaches are thankful for this year? Because there's a lot that do have something to be thankful for. A little extra money in their pockets. Some maybe going to be celebrating Thanksgiving somewhere else next year. So a lot for us to enjoy with that. But it's time for your daily Iron Bowl stats. So we've given you one of these the past couple of days. And we were talking to some people at Social Taco yesterday, and, there's a question that came up, and it was kind of hard to get an answer on because, it's one of those stats where, depending on certain times and what you assess as a night game versus a late afternoon game and things like that, it's kind of hard. But I tried my best to go and figure out night games in Jordan-Hare Stadium for the Iron Bowl. What has that looked like in the history of the Iron Bowl? So if you're an Auburn fan, you're like, man, the first 2 days, the stat kind of in favor of Alabama. Well, now it's your turn, Auburn. This is your stat. There have been 4 games in the history of the Iron Bowl that I could find that have been played at night in Jordan-Hare Stadium. Auburn, you are 3-1 in those games.
Uh-oh.
So if that's the trend you want to go with, then that would bode quite well for you. So it's happened 4 times, 2007, 2003, 1997 were all Auburn victories. 1999 was the one time that Alabama won the night game at Auburn. And for what that's worth, that is a game that kicks off after 6 p.m. That is the definition of a night game in that category. So that's what I could compile based on going back and looking at some other stories that had tried to find that stat and just doing a little research myself. So 3-1 Auburn in night games at Jordan-Hare. Now, similarly for a stat we gave earlier in the week, which it was 29-1, so it was a little different, but there is the one time where, again, if you're Alabama, you've seen it happen before. We're not talking about, oh, well, this is something that's never been done in the Iron Bowl before, is Alabama beating Auburn at night in Jordan-Hare. It's happened. It's only happened one time, but it's happened. So
there's a chance.
So if you're an Auburn fan, maybe that gives you a little more optimism going into Saturday. And if you're an Alabama fan, maybe not as much, but it's happened. So take that with a grain of salt. Do what you want with that. I don't know. It's a fun fact. So that's your Iron Bowl stat of the day. And of course, we'll get into a little more of the talking points around that game as we move along on the show here today. But we do have to talk about the college football playoff rankings. Those were revealed last night. And like we expected, right, not a whole lot of movement, particularly at the top, right? You had Ole Miss and Oregon flip-flop. And yes, that was like the cringiest thing I've ever seen in my life was Hunter Yurachek doing the 6, 7. Like,
yeah, it was lame. It was
like, why
cringy.
Not to get on a rant, but I'm just like, why are so many people are just trying so hard to pander to a joke for 8-year-olds that
right. As long as they understand and they're having fun, keep it there.
Yeah, go listen to the song and then tell me if you are happy that you're. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of parents that. Yeah, I'm sorry if there's some kid out there in the car with their parents who are like, "Don't tell them to go listen to the song." But yeah, it's like, come on,
leave that for the kids.
Yeah, let's stop with all that.
Leave that for the kids.
Let's stop with all
that.
that.
And then what makes it so awkward because there's a little bit of a delay in between. So when Reese gets done asking the question,
thank God Reese laughed a little bit.
Yeah,
otherwise, it would have been really bad.
Yeah, it was cringe. I didn't think that Hunter Yurachek could find a way to be worse, but
here we are.
He did.
Yeah, here we are. So that was the fun way to start it off, was with a little cringiness there from Hunter Yurachek. But again, Ole Miss and Oregon, they flip-flop, right? So Oregon's now at 6. Ole Miss, they find themselves at 7, which we'll get into what that means here in just a second. But both of them would still be hosting home games, right? So in terms of because if you listen on Three Man Front this week, we've been talking about how for the city of Oxford, Mississippi, if Ole Miss hosts a playoff game, the amount of money that will bring into the city of Oxford is estimated to be between $50 and $70 million for one football game.
That's insane.
I would think it's a pretty big deal to the city of Oxford that you host a playoff game. So some people I saw were upset with the fact that they're kind of joking about Ole Miss and Oregon flipping spots and why they made the decision, because again, you go and look at their resumes and Ole Miss, their best win is better than Oregon's. But again, it was a prisoner of the moment type decision. It's called, well, we saw Oregon play a ranked team, and it may have been their first ranked win, but they played a team with a number next to them last week, and Ole Miss didn't play, so we're going to move them up. Like, okay, so you're disregarding everything that you factored into the evaluation. This is just the stuff that I hate. It's like, you have no good reason. Are we looking at the full body of work? Or are you looking at what did you do for me last week? Like, we're supposed to be looking at the full body of. I don't know. I thought that was bizarre, but whatever. It's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. Now, if you're Ole Miss and you lose the Egg Bowl to Mississippi State, maybe moving back a spot is something that comes into play. So worth keeping an eye on there. But Oklahoma, they stay at 8, Notre Dame 9, Alabama 10, no changes there. BYU at 11. Miami did move up to number 12, so they moved up one spot. They leapfrogged over Utah. Again, so a lot of people upset. So Texas A&M doesn't get punished for having their miraculous comeback against South Carolina, but Utah, which did essentially the same thing against Kansas State over the weekend, they now get punished for. I'm just pointing things out.
Yep.
You can feel how you feel about it. I'm just pointing some things out. But now Miami, with them being in the 12 spot, so they kind of evaluate teams, if you didn't know this, in like 4-team groupings. So essentially they view like teams 1, 2, 3, and 4, like they kind of all get compared against each other. Then they view like there's some separation between 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then 9, 10, 11, and 12. Well, if you look at the rankings, that means that right now Notre Dame and Miami are being compared head to head with one another. They are in the same conversation with each other. And Miami's still 3 spots behind Notre Dame. And they talked about this on the broadcast last night. I thought Heather did a good job of laying it out. And what people seem to just not want to come out and say, I will come out and say for you right now. I'm really sorry. I don't think it's fair, but Miami, you're basically screwed.
Yep.
Unless there's a lot of chaos in front of you, which could happen. It could. But they are essentially telling you, yeah, we really don't care about that whole head-to-head thing. It's great win by Miami, but that was the first week of the season. We think Notre Dame is a better team now, and so we essentially are going to disregard the head-to-head fact. It's bold, and it's going to be interesting because if there is a little bit of chaos, let's say BYU loses in the Big 12 championship. Well, that's another spot Miami's probably going to move up. What if Alabama were to lose to Auburn? Well, that's another spot. We could be in a situation on Selection Sunday where Notre Dame and Miami are ranked right next to each other, and Notre Dame's ahead of them despite the head-to-head, and that could still leave Miami out of a playoff. Being ranked one spot behind a team that you beat head-to-head in the same season, that is bad.
It's the unfortunate situation of not being in control of your own destiny.
Yep.
Like you are banking on other things happening, other teams losing, where again, this committee kind of puts you in a box after the losses to SMU and Louisville, and it's okay. Well, if they don't have a chance to win the ACC, or it's a slim chance of them making it to the ACC championship, they're kind of just caught with their hands tied. It's, well, y'all put us here. You can tell us that we're one of the 12 best teams, but based on whatever criteria that you're placing it under, we're still going to be the odd man out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, and again, like it's hard not to say that Miami isn't one of the 12 best teams and deserving of a playoff spot, but you kind of see, at least for the past 2 seasons, it's, man, the losses that you have, they're just so detrimental compared to other teams. And again, fair or unfair, you're in this situation because of how you handled those games. Mm-hmm. And when you lost to them, I guess plays into a fact. But I'm with you. I just don't know what the committee is going to do when there is chaos, or in this situation where an Alabama falls to Auburn in the Iron Bowl, or BYU messes around and if BYU beats Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship, how far does Texas Tech fall off?
Yep.
So it's you are at the mercy of whatever the committee thinks from this point forward. And the only thing you can do is go out and win football games, and even that may not be enough.
And again, it's just another example. I kind of talked about this last week with some of the frustrations. It just feels like every year the committee does everything they can do to tell people, why are you playing difficult games? Like, why are you challenging yourself? Like, it seems like they are so, like, their goals are the antithesis of what college football should be about. Like, that's where I think a lot of people, that's where I get frustrated, is it's, okay, I can understand if you want to say Notre Dame is a much different team now and Miami's a much different team now, fair. Notre Dame is a much better team. Notre Dame's a great team. I don't have any problems acknowledging that. But you're also not going to ever convince me that the most important metric when evaluating two teams should be head-to-head. If you are talking about two teams that played in the same season and one team beat the other team, that should be the end-all, be-all in that discussion. Otherwise, why did you play the game? It doesn't matter. That is just the bewildering part to me that will always be difficult for me to wrap my head around. I understand you could say, well, Notre Dame, they're more impressive. I know they brought up last night, well, you look at how bad they beat Syracuse versus how bad Miami beat. Okay, so now, you beat somebody head-to-head, but oops, you only beat them by 30 and somebody else beat them by 60, so sorry, because of the common opponent. It's garbage in my opinion, and honestly, the worst thing about it is it means that I am here defending Bama haters' point of view, and the fact that the playoff committee is making me do that on my Wednesday morning before Thanksgiving, that's enough to make me mad. So
yeah, I'm with you, bro.
Sorry to get a little upset.
No, you're good, man.
But
it
is what it is. Kind of the last big takeaway last night, or the last two really. Tulane, they stay in the top 25, so they're the only G5 school ranked, so they're still in playoff position there. We'll see what that means for John Summerall and the potential of him being named a head coach somewhere here in the very, very near future. And then finally, kind of got a couple of different answers on this. So they asked about it on the broadcast, and then they asked about it again on the Q&A after the TV broadcast, and it was about Ole Miss. And if Lane Kiffin isn't available to coach the team, is that something that would be held against Ole Miss in the evaluation process of the final rankings on Selection Sunday? On the broadcast, He basically said no. Then in the Q&A portion, he said, well, we haven't been able to evaluate Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin, insinuating that, well, unless it happens, we're not going to entertain that question. So, but if it does happen, who knows? Surprise. Maybe it will matter. Maybe it won't.
And that's so dumb. Like, listen, I understand Lane
I think we would all agree. Just say, yeah, I think it's safe to assume that if a team that's in playoff consideration loses a head coach for the playoffs, that is going to negatively impact how we evaluate their resume.
Yeah, fair, unfair,
or whatever.
Cool. Like at least let us know something.
That seems reasonable to me. Now, it's not fair to the players, but like,
yeah.
Okay, so you're telling me a team that's getting to a playoff because of its head coach that now doesn't have its head coach. Yeah, I would say that's a factor, but whatever. Rough day for Hunter Yurachek. I think the reality is he's not made for television, and I hope that there's only, 2 more times that it's bad. It's really, really bad. So that was your college football playoff rankings from last night. Our takeaways there, as there were a couple of changes, but nothing too earth-shattering. But if you're a Miami fan, certainly probably not very happy today. I think Alabama fans still upset over last week, and some other fan bases that are a little ruffled up this morning. But we also have the coaching carousel going on, the always turning coaching carousel. Hopefully Lane Kiffin, his decision coming in a couple of days, and others. But we had another domino fall last night. A new head coach has been named in the Power 4 in college football. What school is it? Who did they hire? We'll fill you in on all of that good stuff next on Morning Jocks. Welcome back into Morning Jocks here on your Wednesday before the Iron Bowl, Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So appreciate you making some time for us today. Conrad and Damien here with you until 7 o'clock, and then we'll hand you off to McElroy and Kublick in the morning. So we're going to get to a couple of your texts on the Courtesy GMC text line in just a moment because some of you have already been sending in. I asked at the beginning of the show, send in, trying to have some fun today, be a little light. What are SEC coaches thankful for? And I know it's, okay, well, we could come up with something. No, I want you get a little out there with it. Like treat today like a Friday. It feels like a Friday, even though it's a Wednesday. So,
Right.
Let your hair down a little bit. Like, get creative with some of these.
I know that Auburn offensive coordinator Derek Nix is thankful that he gets to call plays on all 3/4 downs.
I would be thankful for that as well.
Be extremely thankful.
Absolutely. 3 times the opportunity.
Exactly.
It's great. Seems to be working out quite well for them. So we'll get to some of those here in a minute because we always are so impressed by the creativity of our wonderful listeners here at JOX. But we were telling you a domino has fallen in the college football coaching carousel, and it certainly has, as yesterday, Oklahoma State announced that they are going to hire North Texas head coach Eric Morris to be the next head coach of the Cowboys. So Eric Morris, he will be allowed to see, I guess, essentially finish the season with North Texas. So whatever that means, because they are, potentially, still in play to earn a bid, maybe to the college football playoff. So he's going to be allowed to finish the season there before taking over at Oklahoma State. But a nice pickup there by Oklahoma State, in my opinion. So Eric Morris, he's only 40 years old. North Texas 10-1 this season. And he's 21-15 in 3 years total at North Texas. He was also the head coach at Incarnate Word for 3 seasons before heading to North Texas. But a lot of people probably very familiar with him if you're like, man, okay, yeah, I know the North Texas thing, but I feel like I remember this guy from something else. Well, he played at Texas Tech when Mike Leach was there. So back in, the Michael Crabtree, Graham Harrell days. Who could forget those? But he was also an offensive coordinator at Texas Tech and Washington State. And who did he coach in college? Pretty good list of players here that he has coached in college at the quarterback position. Patrick Mahomes.
That'll work.
I've heard he's good. Baker Mayfield.
Did he won the Heisman, did he not?
He's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to love this one. Cameron Ward.
Yes. Phenomenal.
Real up-and-comer there in the greater Nashville area.
Yeah.
And then Chandler Morris and, of course, John Mateer last year.
Let's go.
So
he knows the quarterback position.
He knows the quarterback position very, very well. So a nice pickup there for Oklahoma State. This was a guy that, you'd heard from some other, I think maybe Arkansas was the one that had been rumored the most, I guess kind of in our circle of things here in the SEC. But good for Oklahoma State. I mean, I think that's a good hire, right? He's a young guy. He's hungry. He's gotten, proven success, could potentially be, competing in a playoff this year. So I like the move for Oklahoma State. Gives him an opportunity to take a step up. And, we'll see what kind of a job he can do. But I think that's a great opportunity for Eric Morris and a great decision by Oklahoma State. Because I think, again, this is when we talk about, like, the John Summeralls and Alex Golshes of the world, like, kind of feels like that's going to be the way to go for a lot of these places is go and find a younger guy that's hungry that can come in and change a culture. And, you're going to roll the dice a little bit and hope that it doesn't turn out like a, not being ugly, but like a Billy Napier type situation or something, right? And we'll see what happens. So that is the next coaching domino to fall. Who will be next? Will it be Lane Kiffin? Will it be John Summerall? Will it be Alex Golish? Will it be somebody else? I guess we will have to wait and see, Damien, but it will be interesting nonetheless. All right, let's get to a couple of your texts here about what SEC coaches are thankful for this year. Danny from Coleman chimes in. He says, all of the SEC coaches are thankful for yet another season that Nick Saban, a.k.a. Alabama Jones, has retired to level the playing field across college football. I think they can. That is part of it, but I think they also just think money.
That too.
Just NIL, the banks.
Yeah, I think that helped.
Big booster. Let's see. This says, fired SEC coaches are thankful they're being considered Fired SEC coaches are thankful they are being considered elite in the Big Ten. Okay. Let's see. Hugh Freeze is thankful for Auburn because they're paying him $12.8 million to play golf. To put that in perspective, in Tiger Woods' best season ever on the PGA Tour, he won $9 million. That's a good pull right there. I appreciate that.
That's good.
Really, that's the most he ever won in 1 year. Well, I mean, endorsements obviously helped him out, but
the money was good.
That's good. I like that. I like that. Let's say Hugh Freeze. He's got to be thankful for, or maybe he's not, Diego Pavia. Maybe he's just thankful for the fact that he was fired before having to face him for a fourth time. Maybe so. Maybe so. Yeah, a lot of Hugh Freeze golf ones here. Okay, that's fine. Maybe we'll get some more Lane Kiffin ones coming in here. So that's really what I was kind of hoping for. Maybe Brian. Yeah, there's some fun you could have with Brian Kelly as well, to say the least there. But some other texts coming in. Okay, see, there you go. Hugh Freeze is thankful for moving trucks and direct deposits.
Hey.
There you go.
Maybe his daughter's not, but
yeah, maybe not. Paul and Boaz says, if Lane does leave Ole Miss, the committee needs to realize sometimes a team plays better when they don't have their head coach. War damn Eagle. Yeah, I don't think this is the same situation as the Hugh Freeze one, but yeah, certainly been the case for Auburn here the last few weeks. This text says, all right, okay, what about this scenario for Alabama running the table? How far in the rankings would they climb with a win over Auburn and a win in the SEC championship game? Would Alabama get a first-round bye, and should we be ranked ahead of Georgia? I would say in terms of should you be ranked ahead of Georgia, yes. You won the conference. You beat them head-to-head. You deserve to be the top-ranked SEC team, in my opinion. Will that be good enough to get you in the top four? I think it probably will, because I think you'll have Ohio State and Indiana, even the winner and loser of the Big Ten are still getting a bye, because they're going to be 12-0 going in. If Texas Tech wins the Big 12, I would think they would then be maybe the third seed, and then I would think Alabama would be the fourth. I would think if you win the SEC, either one of them, you're getting a first round bye, because you're not going to put I don't think you're going to elevate an Oregon or an Ole Miss or somebody like that, or Georgia right above them. So yeah, you went out, you get a first round bye, in my opinion. I would think so.
That would be my line of thinking too.
But yeah, I would think the highest you would go, maybe they get you up to 3, but I would think 4 maybe would be the ceiling. But hey, that's a first round bye. You'll certainly take that over nothing else. Let's see. Young Bull says Notre Dame's schedule is ass. Besides the first 2 games they played. All right. I like it.
Straight to it.
I like it. I appreciate it. Let's see. And this guy chimes in. He says, hey, guys, not to be cheesy, but I'm thankful for the 2 of you and the great job you all do for your hour of radio. It's my favorite hour of radio, and I appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving. Well, thank you. We appreciate you chiming in and sharing those kind words, and we're thankful we have the opportunity to do this every day. Not to be corny, but we are. So we appreciate each and every one of you. But let's keep it rolling. We'll get to more of your texts, more college football conversation on the way here on JOX. 6:33 here on your Wednesday morning. Thank you for tuning us in here on Morning Jocks. Conrad and Damien with you on this day before Thanksgiving. Hope each and every one of you has a fantastic time tomorrow or today, however you celebrate, whenever you celebrate with your friends and family. We will be off tomorrow. We'll be enjoying the holiday with our families, and then we will be back with you 6 a.m. on Friday. We're going to have a full slate of shows for you, getting you ready for Iron Bowl. We're going to break down the games for you, preview everything. Of course, we'll give you our picks, talk about the other big rivalry matchups, and let you guys have fun and kind of open it up and, get your final jabs in at one another as the Iron Bowl comes up on Saturday. And it's going to set up a lot of things potentially for both of these programs moving forward for the rest of this season and beyond that. But speaking of Alabama and Auburn, quickly, we did have basketball last night.
Make it fast.
I know. I'm sorry, everybody. But the Players Era tournament there in Las Vegas, so both Alabama and Auburn playing for the second time in 2 days. Let's start with Auburn because they were the early game. They were probably the only game you actually watched because I don't know how many of you stayed up until 11 o'clock to watch the Alabama game. I did, in hindsight, don't recommend doing that because pretty tired this morning. But Michigan, they kind of manhandled Auburn, beat Auburn 102-72 last night there for the Wolverines. So you can see why Michigan, one of the 7 best teams in the country, I think they're going to move up probably into the top 5 after all is said and done. And they are now going to play Gonzaga in the championship, actually, of the Players Era Festival. But just not a great night for Auburn. You only shoot from the free throw line. You go 18 to 33 for 55%. The good thing from the night is you shot 42% from behind the three-point line, 10 of 24. So you were more efficient there than Michigan was. But unfortunately, everywhere else, Michigan had the advantage. So you only shoot 35% from the floor. So you shoot 42% from three, but you just do some quick math there, and you're shooting in the 20%, 25% range from two-point range around the basket. That stuff can't happen, especially when you're struggling from the free throw line as well. Absolutely dominated in terms of rebounding. That advantage went to Michigan 51-35.
Yep.
So they were just the more physical team, more aggressive going after the rock. And Michigan, they get the better end of that matchup. So Auburn, they fall for the second time this year. But, hey, they're in a very similar situation as Alabama where you go, man, you've already lost twice. But, okay, you lost to Houston and Michigan,
right.
2 of the best teams in the country, very similar to Alabama. Yeah. Auburn's going to be just fine. These are the kinds of games where, yes, you would obviously like to win every game you play, but these are the kinds of games that pay off in March, right? When you have this experience and these moments to go back to, and how do you respond from this moving forward? So, Yaxel Lindeborg, he obviously the former UAB superstar, now playing for Michigan. He had 17 points last night to lead the way for the Wolverines. 5 rebounds, 4 assists as well for him. And then on the Auburn side of things, your leading scorer last night was Todd Pettiford had 16. Keyshawn Hall had 15 there for the Auburn Tigers. So a rough one there for Auburn, but they went out there, got 1 win, and now their week cut short by the Michigan Wolverines 102-72. It was kind of funny because the last 2 nights, if you watch the game, right, you got Bruce Pearl. He's commenting on the games and doing the broadcast while Steven, his son, is coaching. But I liked it last night. He just outright came out and said, yeah, we offered Yaxel Lindeborg $1 million in NIL, and he wasn't interested.
Yeah, right. Wasn't even sniffing.
It's like, all right, coach, maybe they don't want you revealing that stuff. But, I will just say this. I know how much he got, and it's more than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is certainly more than that. But it was just kind of funny hearing.
Yeah, he was just straight up.
He's like, we offered $1 million. He didn't even
sniff at it.
Yeah. All right, thanks. I appreciate the transparency, Coach. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's why you like old BP there. So a rough one for Auburn last night as they fall to Michigan 102-72. On the other hand, Alabama, they kind of had the opposite. They absolutely dominated UNLV last night. So the first time in quite a while that Alabama's played a not-ranked opponent, and I think you saw that kind of early on with just the energy, the effort they were giving. You could tell that this was they were out there like, oh, all right, we're about to have some fun playing this UNLV team there. So Alabama, they go up 51-36 at halftime. Then they score 64 points in the second half. Just an absolute offensive showcase last night for the Crimson Tide. So you had 6 guys in double figures last night. Aiden Holloway, he has 26 points. 5 of 6 from the three-point line last night was incredible there. So he had 5 3-pointers made. Houston Millette made 4. London Jibison made a couple. Amari Allen made a couple. So all things considered, 14 of 33 from the three-point line. You'll take that. You shoot 83% from the free throw line as well. That'll work. And 55% from the floor as a whole. But, yeah, a really good showing last night for Alabama. They out-rebound UNLV. They dominated that one 48-28 in regards to rebounds there. They got UNLV in foul trouble pretty early in this game. So a nice performance there for Alabama as they end their run there in Las Vegas. They're now 4-2 on the season after their loss to Gonzaga last night. They bounced back with a win over UNLV. So a break now for Alabama and Auburn. Going to get back in action next week as the season rolls along. And hey, before we know it, it'll be SEC play in January. So that was kind of your college basketball recap from last night. Also, shout out to Tennessee. They took down Houston last night. That's not easy to do. So got to give credit there to Rick Barnes and the Volunteers.
Let's just see if they can do it in March.
Correct.
That's after the first weekend.
Yes.
And the second weekend.
Yes. Got to get to one of those Final Fours eventually. Eventually. All right, let's get to some more of your calls and text here on the Courtesy GMC text line, as well as the hotline here, the Higginbotham hotline. Let's go to Larry. He's been waiting by patiently. Wants to chime in this morning about Alabama in the playoff. How we doing, Larry?
Hey, good morning, guys. Damien, I apologize when I called in. I'm getting old sucks when you take, I'm a diabetic. I take 3 shots a day and short-term memory's bad, but I apologize about that, Damien, when you answered the phone. Guys, I want to second what the texter texted in earlier, because I listen to y'all every morning, enjoy what y'all do. Y'all bring it, and I just like your feedback in reference to all the topics that's discussed every day. But one thing, guys, and this is just my opinion, everybody's got one. The only way Bama wins in Jordan-Hare is number one, everybody said it over and over, we got to establish some kind of running game, and we've got to take the crowd out of the game, because if we don't, it's going. I mean, Auburn wants to be. I mean, it's beyond amazing. And besides the grave digger, and of course what our young quarterback did a few years ago, I wanted to say that. And guys, y'all have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and y'all don't get enough credit, but y'all do an outstanding job, guys, and love the show. That's all I wanted to say, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Larry. We appreciate you and you calling in all the time and listening to the show and all the work you do out there as well. So appreciate you chiming in this morning. And again, okay, so this is why, and as Larry says, oh, you don't get enough credit. Well, I just messed up big time. So I have to correct myself. This is what happens when you stay up until 1:30 watching basketball and then have to get up and do a show this early in the morning. Alabama and Auburn, they are playing again today. I forgot they have a third game in the tournament. So Auburn, they're going to play St. John's. That game will be at 7 o'clock on True TV. We saw Alabama play them earlier in the year, so that's a difficult one potentially for Auburn. And then Alabama plays Maryland at 11 o'clock again. So
okay,
that's yeah. Sorry, I completely
it's all good,
blanked
brother.
on that. I was looking at the matchups last night, and they weren't posted because those games weren't finished yet.
Right.
And then I went to bed at 1:30. So
no, you're good. Hey, and also
it happens.
It kind of stinks too. There's no football tonight.
Yeah, this is the first day, and I think 49 days that we haven't had football.
Stinks.
But we'll have a lot tomorrow. So
absolutely.
Like it sucks for today, but
Yeah.
then you look at tomorrow and you're like, oh, we got like a lot of football tomorrow.
Of course.
Then you get a lot on Friday and then a lot on Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, it is. It's going to be tough. But hey, college basketball. Then there you go. You can.
You got a chance.
Yeah, you got a chance there. You got a chance. One other thing I did want to touch on here, before we kind of move along is, we were talking about the coaching carousel and some things, dominoes that could potentially fall in the grand scheme of things. And while this isn't a job that anyone's been talking about, it is something that will affect potentially a team here in the state, and that's the Oregon State job. So a couple of weeks ago, it came out that Jamarcus Shepard, who's the wide receiver coach at Alabama, he was, kind of on the short list of candidates there to be the next head coach of the Beavers. And now, yesterday, we got a report last night from somebody that covers the Oregon State Beavers. He's a beat writer there for that program. And it has apparently come down to Jamarcus Shepard and one other candidate for the Oregon State job. So that is something certainly to keep an eye on. because again, I think a lot of Alabama fans, that's somebody that they've really gravitated towards since he came over with Kalen DeBoer. And I know last year, right, when it was, man, Kalen DeBoer, he's a little too mild mannered. Maybe he doesn't get after the guys a lot. And that was Shepard, right? Like that's kind of his role is he's the motivator. He'll get in your face and yell at you, but he'll also, be the first to go up to you and dap you up, give you a high five and congratulate you when you're doing something right. So he's certainly one of the best at what he does in the country as a wide receivers coach. And if he gets that opportunity to be an Oregon State head coach, that's awesome for him, but certainly a big loss there for Alabama and their staff. So I did want to throw that out there, just make people aware if that's news that comes out soon that
they're gonna get a real one if they get shipped.
Absolutely. Get a real one. It'll be a lot of tough love there in Corvallis if that's the case. But yeah, they'd be getting a good one. So but big changes could be coming, right? Kane Womack is a name for Arkansas. Jamarcus Shepard's a name for Oregon State. Again, I'm not buying into it, but there's still that smoke out there about Kalen DeBoer and Penn State. So, just when you think like you're an Alabama fan, you're kind of sit up with your legs kicked up and, oh man, we're going to avoid this and we're just going to move on into the playoffs and, go compete for a national championship potentially. And, well, you lose to Oklahoma and now you got a tough game in the Iron Bowl coming up and things can change very quickly in college football, as we are all well aware, but I did want to pass that along just kind of as a heads up for anybody out there that hadn't heard that. Jamarcus Shepard there, a serious candidate for the Oregon State head coaching job. But a lot of you continuing to chime in on the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. We'll get to your thoughts, as you can still tell us, what are SEC head coaches most thankful for this holiday season? Please, please, please be creative. We know Hugh Freeze is thankful for Goff. What else is he thankful for? We want these to be maybe a little controversial. I'll just go out there and say it. So we'll get to more of those next here on Morning Jocks. Final few moments of three-man from Morning Jocks. I'm sorry, man. This song threw me off. I just was.
It's a good Thanksgiving song.
That's a good one right there. That's a good pull from Damien right there. I was just not expecting that at all. So welcome back into Morning Jocks here on your Wednesday morning. Appreciate you being with us on the day before Thanksgiving, and we hope each and every one of you has a fantastic holiday tomorrow. And we're going to wrap up with a lot of your text on the Courtesy GMC text on 205-834-9450. Like Chris from Tuscaloosa, he says, happy Thanksgiving to the entire JOX family. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you as well, Chris. He says, Mike Elko is thankful that his team hasn't had to play the top-tier SEC teams this season. I still think A&M chokes before it's all said and done.
There's a small glimmer that I kind of believe that as well, but from what I've seen, it's hard not to believe in them, man. South Carolina had their opportunity. And
they did.
Texas A&M came back and did what they did. I want to believe it. I do, but man, Texas A&M is for real.
And they certainly are. And okay, so hypothetically here, for Texas A&M, like the worst case scenario for them, right, is you lose to Texas this weekend, then well, I guess they wouldn't play in the SEC championship at that point.
No.
Okay, well then you can't. Okay, well, and then you would flame out in the first round of the playoffs, and you would lose to, I'm guessing if you lose to Texas, you're probably falling out of the top four, which, is kind of wild to think that you would go 11-1 in the SEC and fall the top four. But you would probably do that, and then so let's see, maybe you're the 5 seed, maybe you're hosting Tulane in the first round. Maybe that's not the worst thing in the world potentially.
True.
I'm just hoping that, and it would be very difficult for this to happen. But I'm guessing what would have to happen is Ole Miss would have to win on Saturday.
Which we will.
Or on Friday. And Alabama would have to beat Auburn and then lose the SEC championship game, but still make the playoff in order for the seeds not to change. Because based on last night's rankings, Alabama would be going to Oxford to play Ole Miss in the first round of the playoffs. That'd be interesting.
Would it?
I think it would be. That'd be awesome.
Who do you think would? I'm not even going to ask you.
We will get there.
First off, come on, man. Who you think would be favored, dog? Let's be real.
I'm glad you asked that. I saw a line for this last night. What do you think the line was? In Oxford.
That's pick 'em.
Ole Miss -1.
Let's go.
So
let's go.
Essentially a pick 'em.
You wouldn't want that smoke.
I will play anybody that wants to play.
Attaboy.
Anybody that wants to play.
You got the Iron Bowl this week, man. Lock in.
That's
lock in.
You need to tell that to your head coach. Alrighty here. This one says this is our Ohio State fan that chimes in. It says, if we lose to Michigan, I'm getting a giant M tattooed on the side of my head.
Be careful, man. Be careful.
I am going to hold you to that one.
Be careful.
Let's see. Happy Thanksgiving. Stephen Pearl is thankful that he was born on 3rd.
Why you gotta do my boy like that?
I just read him.
Yeah.
I just read him. He's done a good job.
Yes.
All things considered. First game was a little rocky, and since then it
was just the jitters.
It's been okay. A lot of these are. I said SEC coaches what they're thankful for. I think people just took that as what's Hugh Freeze thankful for, and
there is a heavy lean.
Like this one from Rob. Hugh Freeze is thankful that the powers that be fired him before Vanderbilt. If allowed to coach in the Vanderbilt game, he would be the losingest coach at the University of at Auburn University over the last 75 years. Also thankful for Brian Harsin having a win percentage of .429 versus his .441 winning percentage. Okay. Just throwing some real cold, hard facts at us there, Rob. Let's see. John Mack says, my Texas A&M Aggies only scored 120 last night. Congratulations to Bucky.
Congratulations.
I'll recognize the basketball team. We love Bucky.
Yeah, absolutely.
No problems with them. He also says, Hugh Freeze is thankful he doesn't get recruiting and play suggestion emails from Don every week anymore.
That was a good one.
Eric says Lane and Sark are both thankful for the St. Nick Coaches Rehabilitation Clinic in Tuscaloosa. Yep.
Dang.
And this one says Lane Kiffin is thankful for Penn State hiring DeBoer so he can land in Tuscaloosa. Well, that hasn't happened yet.
It ain't going to happen.
I don't think it is either, but you never know, I guess. All right, we're back Friday at 6 a.m. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. McElroy and Kubik in the morning is next.